TPE Network. Fun yet informative podcasts.
Hello and welcome to Mouse House Plus. It's episode 45. We'll be recapping Hawkeye, episode 4 of season 1. I'm Hank. Whoops.
And I am John, and I'm here.
And he's in there. Awesome. So, John, are you ready to dive right into partners? Am I right?
Yep, let's do this, partner.
That's great. I love this intro. Why is there an Avenger in my dining room? That's pretty good. And it's like he's my partner. I'm like, I call him CB1. I was like, quit it. Stop all of this. Now, can I just make one little complaint about this whole segment?
Go ahead.
I thought the Kate Bishop in this episode was written wrong for this aspect. Just for this part of the episode, they wrote it like it was Kate Bishop 16, not 22. Because there's just a little bit nuanced difference in my opinion. I don't know if you've been around very many young women or whatnot, but the way she acts later in the episode makes more sense to the character than in this particular spot where she's trying to, we're partners. Tell them, that we're partners and stuff. That's something more like a little teen would do and not necessarily an overconfident 22-year-old.
Well, I mean, I think that she would be trying to play it off as not knowing as much information or the activities that she's doing. She's really trying to play it down low. So playing the naive girl up front, but then also trying to show off for your mom saying, oh, look, my hero is here and we're partners. And he was like,
no, we're not at all. By the way, thank you for saving the world. That was great.
I was really curious how they were going to wrap this up with the last episode with him almost basically getting decapitated. And whenever she took that moment where she was like, why is there an Avenger in my dining room? That I was like, yeah, this is pretty believable because it's a lot better than having to just go into a big fight scene, which I'm sure glad that they didn't end up doing.
Yeah, I thought that would have been too soon to kind of give that payoff.
Yeah.
Because we are going to see that, but when is the good question. Now, after an awkward conversation, Kate's mom brings up Natasha. Now, was that believable to you that not that everybody knows that Natasha is dead, but that, that would kind of be a little bit of a needle to him?
What known to? Well, yeah, because it's not like these people know that she died on Volmir, and it was between a fight between Hawkeye and Black Widow to see who was going to die. I mean, it's kind of I don't think anyone knows that information. I mean, that's way more than anyone needs to know exactly how they got the Soul Stone. So, I mean, that not to mention that, why would you ever want to tell anybody else how to get the Soul Stone? So, yeah, I get how they would thank him, thinking that, he's done nothing wrong. He's always been helpful. And then, throwing out Black Widow, not realizing it's triggering him because, as far as they're concerned, I mean, she was a hero, did her job, and unfortunately died in the line of battle. And, everyone moves on. But Hawkeye's having a really rough time doing that.
Now, Mom Eleanor wants him to forget this case. Then he's like, he can't do that. Now, here's one where I about lost my mind. He obviously eyeballed the Ronin blade. He takes it. How come Jack never mentions this?
I don't know. And I actually thought the same thing too. I figured he was so obsessed with getting that, why would he have not gone and looked for it as soon as he put it down? Because I mean, the other thing too is like it was leaning up against a wall. I mean, wouldn't you want to put the sword in a safe place rather than just, lying over there?
And how would you not know who took it at this point? Once he does whatever, quote, realize it's missing, he would obviously have to know for certain who took it. Wouldn't you think?
I would think so.
Yeah. So it was just kind of ridiculous. He could have just been like, "Hey, this is Shield property," or "This is Avenger property." They don't know. They don't know who sent him or what he's doing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He could be like, I have to confiscate that. I mean, that's the one thing about this is I get some time has passed, but they haven't done a good job of explaining why we're not saying some insert agency name here.
Well, I mean, is Shield even? I don't think Shield's a thing right at the moment. I mean, they're still trying to rebuild, but I think if anything, that's like, Shield was originally in the comics like a secret organization. So, when they had Shield in this MCU, it wasn't so secret. I mean, they had a great big facility that was in DC. They had people all around the world. They had giant flipping helicarriers. Is kind of, basically it was like Shield on the side of it. So it's hard to miss that. Now, if they are back up and running, and then like Fury's got everything to going again, then they're staying ridiculously in the shadows to make sure that no one knows that Shield exists unless they need to, or Shield doesn't exist anymore and it's Sword, and then the same rules apply.
Right. It's probably Sword because that's what they're heading towards. Now, Clint's wife talks about the Rolex. So I got two inclinations. One, she is a bigger player than we think she is. Like she has some other tasks that she performs. Why wasn't she with them in New York and all that kind of stuff? Plus this information and stuff that she passes on in this episode. And then two, why is that Rolex so important?
Yeah, that's definitely trying to figure out what's going on. I mean, there's a lot of theories of what's going on, but I mean, again, it's just theories and that's it.
True. Most certainly. Who do you think the Rolex belongs to if you just had to spitball?
I'm actually thinking that it may belong to Laura Barton.
Oh,
Like it might be
okay.
her. I mean, I mean, it's a whole like random. Honestly, I'm just like I'm reading, and this is kind of like the first thing that popped up in my mind. But honestly, I have no idea who it could belong to. Like, I mean,
Okay.
it looks like a Stark watch, because of how shiny everything is. But right now, it's a complete and utter mystery to me. I don't know what a watch, something that they have, what it's going to do, or why it's so important. So, I mean, clearly there's probably something inside it that we're missing, but as of right now, I'm still playing this entire thing as I have no idea what's going on.
Okay. I was really hoping it had something to do with like Fury or Coulson or something like that. That's what I was hoping for. I don't think so, but
Well, it's still, I
that'd
mean,
be
it
fun.
still possibly could,
I
but
hope
we have
so.
no way of finding that out yet. And but we will in the next two episodes.
Kate wants to talk about Jack, but Eleanor doesn't want to. And then Jack comes in and he just lays it on extra thick. I mean, is there any doubt in anyone's mind that he is just over the top mustache twirling bad guy underneath?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
100%. He's too smooth. But what were they joking about? How he takes like idioms and changes how it's supposed to be said, and they're all. But I was like, listen to that. I'm like, oh, did that sound right? And I couldn't remember what the original one was, but they're going down all this list, and I mean, clearly that's him just playing coy to make him look good in front of the rest of the family.
Right. And
You know.
then I have a friend and she is not from America and she does that and it's it is so hilarious. Oh my goodness. It is so hilarious. Um I love it. All right. Absence makes the heart grow older was what one of the ones he used apparently. And she was like, "No, that's not right."
Yeah.
Kate finally seems to be thinking about Clint getting home to his family. It, did you get that sense that she finally is going to, acknowledge that he is making a big sacrifice for this whole situation?
Yeah, I mean, considering that she was involved in the phone call with his youngest son and just basically listening to him saying that I got to go back. I got, other places to be. And then more and more Ronin stuff that keeps, floating up. Now he's trying to put that to bed.
Yes, most certainly. All right. She brings pizza and Holiday cheer over, and they want to talk about Sword Boy. And Jack is revealed to be the CEO of a front company of the Tracksuit Mafia. And then she doesn't fact check that she is not on a dry erase board. That was outstanding because it brought a lot of fun to a tense situation, a tense conversation and spitballing and stuff. I love that.
All right, I want to backpedal a little bit. So we have Clint basically talking to his wife, and she's like, ice everything. And then he raids the freezer. And see, this is one of the reasons why I'm liking this series more than anything else. We're seeing the one Avenger who basically has no physical superpowers whatsoever get the crap beat out of him. He is aging, he is getting hurt, and you're seeing this. I mean, he's like, his wrist, his elbow, his shoulder, his neck, his, in his head. He's trying to get all that back together again. And I like the fact that we're humanizing him even more than everybody else. So far, me watching this outside of, yes, there's like trick arrows that you can't believe, but outside of that, it's one of the most grounded episode or series so far that they've done. This is, to me, is far exceeding, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah, and that one was supposed to be more, realistic grounded, because they don't technically have crazy outstanding superpowers, but they are in some way or form. But yeah, this, I'm liking this. And then, for example, they run out of arrows, and what are we gonna do? Or where's the trick arrows? And so we're having to deal with him working on a budget of nothing with a person who he barely knows, trying to take out the being that he once was.
Right. Now we get that boomerang arrow mentioned. Did you like that?
Oh yeah, and that's a call out to the comic books right there.
Nice.
But I totally understood what they're getting at. He's like, but the arrow comes right back at you. She's like, yeah, then you can use it again. He's like, but the arrow comes back at you.
And then we have the quarters or any item that is shaped like that kind of trick shot that he does. That was really cool.
Yeah, that's something that goes back, because I mean, he does, I guess it's his pseudo superpower, which is basically he's a good version of Bullseye.
Yes, exactly what I was gonna say.
It's like, as long as he saw that target once, that's it. He knows exactly where it is. No matter where he throws from, he can hit that target. So, and didn't we see this when they're playing darts at some point in time? And they're like, oh yeah, he's like, I'm gonna win, and they're like, no, and he's like, hum, 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 and it's all Bullseye, and see in this, whenever she's like, yeah, you're just basically talking out your. That was great. It's basically him showing me shut up.
I'm gonna tell everybody you're a liar.
But then him going and teaching her, and then going over it, and that was amazing, because so far he hasn't done that to anybody. He doesn't really. We haven't seen him share anything with anyone except for his daughter when they were on the farmstead. So him teaching her these other additional tricks, it's pretty amazing, which means that she is the caliber that he would be looking for, because he wouldn't be helping nobody.
No. And then he talks about, or she asked him about the best shot he ever took, and he's like, it's the one he didn't. Who else thought he was talking about that Thor movie? At first, I thought he was talking about that.
No, I thought he was talking about Natasha. I actually thought that he was going to roll into that, because because we know that he was supposed to go after her. I was actually waiting them to start dropping names of places where they're at. So the what is the event that they constantly keep talking about? I keep thinking Bangladesh, but that's not right. Budapest, yeah. And I was waiting for them to say the Budapest line, and it didn't come up. But that's what I was thinking of.
And when he told that story and that underlying holiday movie is playing and stuff, I thought that was really, really well done.
This entire home scene with them is all of it's well done.
Yeah.
He's in an ugly. She made him put on an ugly sweater. They're watching, movies. They're just, doing things all around, and I love that they're just basically getting drunk off of mixed drinks the entire time. It's fun. That was one of again. It helps reel in the MCU world into a more realistic approach, and that's why I like this so much.
Then he admits to her that he's a Ronin, and he tells her how he hurt people, and he starts having those flashbacks and stuff. Any thoughts on that sequence?
It took too long to get to that. Probably could have figured that out in episode 2.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Now, Hawkeye's going to go talk to Kazi, and he sends Kate to talk to the LARPers, and she's like, can we refer to them as our arrows instead of his arrows? That was great, man. I was like, man, she's nailing it. She's funny.
But he did correct himself pretty quickly and was like, fine, our arrows. But
she's a second daughter already, I think.
Yep.
Now we get Officer Wendy Conrad. She can help procure the arrows. However, the LARPers want something in return. What did you think it was going to be? I thought it was going to be him showing up in that Hawkeye with the H on the on the mask. I thought that's what he was going to have to do.
He might still. Now, what I thought was that they were going to make her play like they did Hawkeye.
That would have been fun. But instead, they want material because it's going to be material for everyone. Everyone's going to get a costume, man. I was like, this is great, dude. Maybe they'll all suit up at the end or something. I don't know. Now, Hawkeye gets the drop on Kazi. That was a cool exchange. How Kazi doesn't understand that he would be ready for all his little pathetic tricks is beyond my understanding. But other than that, I thought it worked out pretty good.
Well, I mean, he doesn't know how extreme he could be. I mean, it's like he just knows that he's an archer, not realizing that he is a shield agent that's supposed to look for like everything. So first off, he's a spy, and then second off, he's a killer. And so he knows the routine. You go in, you look for all the obvious places where they'd hide things. But when he's spelling it all out to him, he's like, yeah, and the razor blade that's underneath the seat, you should try going for that too. And but and that was good because I know, and whenever he got out and he's like, well, can I have my gun back? And he's like, no. Honestly, I thought for a moment he was going to give him the gun back. And whenever he just took it and tossed it, he was like, man, I was like, again, this is why I'm liking this series. This is more of a realistic approach. You didn't want to hurt him, but he wasn't going to let him continue with what he was doing, but he didn't arrest him. So
just let him go. All right. Now the officer retrieves the arrows, and we find out that the Rolex is signaling from 3715 Godfrey Road. Is that supposed to mean something to us?
Not that I know of, but I can look that up. But
I was just curious.
Right now, we'll keep on going. It was what? 37 what?
3715 Godfrey Road.
All right.
So I was curious if that has some kind of secret hidden meaning in the comics or in the MCU, as it were, but we'll find out. Now it's go time. Kate is on mission. She is telling the old man that she's helping, that she's talking to an Avenger in her ear. So she doesn't follow anything. And this is why earlier when she was marking out in front of her mom and mom's boyfriend, this is more like the writing style I would expect. This kind of I got a better idea than you have, and that kind of stuff. It would have been more fun if she would have said he's my sidekick or something like that. Like, this is my mission. He's just giving me a couple of pointers here and there, or he's my backup or something. That would have been more fun to me.
Well, the interesting part about this type of relationship that they have going on there, he was never the Avengers plan maker. There's always somebody else making the
No.
plan. He always went wrong. So when they're turning around and like, so what's the plan? He's like, oh, I guess I'm doing that. And then whenever he's like coming up with the plan, she's not even there. She just dips and rolls out. So that's just showing like, you know, the dynamic. She thinks that she knows everything. He knows that she doesn't know everything, but she's not going to listen. But he keeps on trying to hold her back, and it just makes for, you know, that wacky duo, and it's just entertaining as heck, man. And then when we get to the next step and she breaks into the apartment, I mean, there's all that communication that's going back and forth between them. They're like, oh, she's here. No, she's here. And, you know, that was really good too.
Yes. So when Kate gets in, she shoots those little blinking lights that are on the wall. She finds the watch and she sees notes on Clint's family. And you're like, oh no, this just got serious. And when he says, Maya's on the roof, but she's like, no, she's in the apartment. That was great because I knew exactly who's up there with him. And the rooftop assailant has the drop on Clint, and then Kate, as well as Kate, but Maya levels her. That's what was going on up there. That was so cool that no one really knows who's who, but they're just all out war battling each other. Love it. And we get that flashback to Endgame. But when we had her go over the edge and he reaches down like that, and then this time he cuts Kate loose so she can get away, allegedly. Man, that was cool. I really thought that was really well done, really powerful of the way they implemented it.
Yeah, and realistically, you've got two people that are trying to kill him. Why would I want to pull you up and keep my back to them the entire time? So cutting her loose, if anything, was like, get back up here, you know, a kind of comment. But I didn't see any kind of like issue with how this whole thing played out. I quite enjoyed it.
And I loved that Florence Pugh's Black Widow has that same fighting style. Black Widow fighting style where you know it's a Black Widow. I love that when she does that throw and that spin kick and stuff, man. I'm just like, wow, you know instantly who that is. I love it.
And she posed. She posed for us too.
Yes, and the freaking zap. I love that stuff. Kate comes back up and starts dealing arrows. That was cool too, because you know, up until then, they had all just been fisticuffs mostly, except for Florence Pugh's Black Widow character. And when she starts dealing those arrows out, I was like, yes. Oh, yes. And then she is revealed. And at the end, we have Clint pushing Kate away. Who didn't see this coming, you know, because he doesn't want her to get hurt. He's remembering what the mom said and all that stuff. He's got kids of his own. And I was like, oh, man, this is so good.
I don't really have too much to add to that. I mean, when he turns around and is like, I have a Black Widow assassin after me. And he's right. Enough said. Considering the fact that he's still alive after the thing, that is, you know, incredible. So, yeah, get her. But here's the problem, though. She's already involved. She's now fought her. And regardless of, you know, her going back to her life, it doesn't mean that she's not going to get attacked by the Black Widow now because, I mean, okay, if she was a true Black Widow, she would kill the target and then leave unless there were witnesses. So in this case, if she never saw the person again, she probably would just let her go. But considering she's not really a Black Widow anymore and just more of a, you know, assassin for hire, she got punched by somebody else and she's just like, forget this. I'm totally going to be going after you.
That is awesome. I tell you what, this is a really fun episode, but Kate needs to start covering her face. You know what I mean? She needs to wear a mask, or something, because she's just walking around into all this danger, and it's like, no, that's not good. Not what we're after here. But last week we forgot to rate the episode, so we got to rate the episode this week.
Oh, what did yeah? Do we we're gonna talk about last week's rating then?
I think I posted it on social
Okay.
because we didn't, last week was just so. But what about this week? What are you giving it?
Oh, I'm giving it an 8. I had a great time with this.
Yeah, I thought it was a really solid episode. Had a lot of fun. Just a couple nuanced things that I didn't like that much, but it was a really good episode. So I am gonna say 8.5.
I mean, this is what we needed in the beginning. So it was so slow beginning, and now this is what I need. I mean, it's not like it's action all the way through, but it's more of them being real, not them just wandering around either looking for someone or being chased by someone, because that was pretty much what the first episode was.
Yes, and it is been a slow burn, but business has picked up. These last 2 episodes are probably going to be absolutely phenomenal. Agent 14 had popped into our live stream, John. So I do want to acknowledge that he popped in and said happy holidays. He's loving this show.
Happy
So we
holidays to you.
appreciate it very much, Agent 14. Thank you so much. Anything else, John? I know we did this early this week because I have a friend's going away party on Friday, and I gotta be available for that.
All right,
Um,
couple things. So the Black Widow costume was accurate to the comic book that she has in in there with the green like eyes. It was, I mean, the mask that she has in there in the comics is a little bit more because it's got like 6 of the green eyes. This one only has like 5, and 2 of them are real small. But the outfit is pretty darn close to that. We also get the uh, Hawkeye talking about the big guy. So another Mephisto call. I mean, sorry. Let me see. Wilson Fisk call out.
Thank you.
And see, I
Oh.
got the name. I just couldn't think of Kingpin for whatever reason, but I can remember his full name. So anyway, then on top of that, one of the shirts that she has on when she's like inside the apartment, the one that says like Nenka, that is actually, I mean, that is cut and paste from the comic books. They made that
Oh, cool.
exact shirt straight from the comic books.
Nice.
And besides that, he holds up whenever he's got his mug and he's drinking, he's got a Thanos was right mug. So
That's awful.
It's gonna come down. I actually, as of last night, when I think I messaged you, if everything else rolls like this last episode, I'm already upset that we have only 2 episodes left.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be gone too soon.
Yeah, because their chemistry, I have to admit, their chemistry is really good together.
Yes. Yep. I agree. All right.
That's all I got. Oh, and one last thing. When he was talking,
Sure.
when she's like going through the hallway and she's like, "How do you get around with your bow?" And he's like, "Mine's collapsible." She's like, "Oh, okay."
Because I'm so shocked that nobody's saying anything about her carrying around this big recurve bow.
When she's walking through the park, and you're like, you don't think a police officer would stop you and be like, ma'am. But at the same time, there is a LARP going on, and they do have fake weapons there. So as far as anyone knows, those could be arrows that have like a Nerf ball like on the end of it, so you can't really hurt anybody with them.
True.
And
And
that's what she would go with. But still, she's just walking around anywhere with a bow and arrow, and it's just you're like, come on. She's too rich and privileged to be able to I can do what I want.
and she kind of just brushes off the police situation again. They at least mentioned it, but it's like unrealistic to the point where you're like, well, you could probably just drop it at this point.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for this edition of Mouse House Plus. What did you think about the episode? We'd love to hear your feedback after next week's episode. You can hit us up at feedback@tpenetwork.com or head to the website, tpenetwork.com/feedback, and you can leave a voice message right on the website itself or a text message in the text area box. We would love to hear your thoughts. For John, I'm Hank. Until the next time, we're signing off.
Bye, everybody.
TPE Network.